Is up, podcast community? This is episode 16 of Three Questions Podcast. My name is Cam King. Welcome back. I just finished recording episode 15. So go and listen to that one. That was a good one if you missed it. First thing I want to do, I want to thank our sponsor, Ad Sciences. If you don't know, Ad Sciences is a data science platform and digital advertising service that runs the world's best performing Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns. I am serious. Their clients and those agency partners get significantly more higher quality leads, as well as more sales at a lower cost per lead and higher return on ad spend than they've ever been able to achieve. Ad Science is a great fit for both B2B and B2C advertisers across every market and vertical. Oh, excuse me. To learn more about how to work with Ad Science's team on an ad campaign, please contact Howie at appanite.com. That is HOWIE at APPANITE.com. And I am serious. I've worked with Howie for years. He's the best in the business. I've referred them a bunch of clients over the years, and they've always gone on to do really, really great things for them. And those clients come and thank me for introducing them to Howie. Please go email him if you are looking to get a service and or product out there. I guarantee you won't regret it. Now, cough aside, that came out of nowhere, of course. I want to get into three questions that I just want to share. And these may be a little uncomfortable. We're probably going to get into some R-rated stuff. I'll try and keep it as PG as possible, but I feel very strongly about these things. I've implemented these things into my own life over the past 3 years. So there's going to be a little bit of maybe TMI. So feel free to skip this episode if you want. No shame in it, but these are topics that are widely discussed, especially in the manosphere and in the masculinity realms, probably more for men than for women. But if you want to stay and listen, obviously go for it. I'll get right into it. Okay, we'll keep this pretty short and set my timer. Question number one, and I wrote these myself. These are coming from me. So what is NoFap? And how can I implement it? If you don't know what NoFap is, that's NoFap. NoFap is a term that, I don't know, started in the late 09, maybe 08. It was around when I wasn't going into college, but NoFap is essentially not jerking off, watching porn. It's called PMO, porn, masturbation, and orgasm. And NoFap has changed a lot of people's lives. I've talked about dopamine, I've talked about endorphins, and I'm going to talk about masturbation here and sort of how to use this sexual energy. But if you don't know, you have a number of different chakras throughout your body, and I won't get into that per se, but down at your root chakra is where a lot of your sexual energy holds, and that's obviously where our reproductive organs are. I will keep this anatomy less for now and very spiritual based, but NoFap is essentially the commitment to not jerk off, to retain your semen, to not watch porn, and to not masturbate. And NoFap has really changed my life in a number of ways, and we'll talk about these briefly. But NoFap, I didn't know, like many other men or teenagers when I was a kid, I was watching porn, even in my 20s, even when I was in a relationship, I was watching porn, and I didn't think it was a problem. Okay. And I would watch it here and there, blah, blah, blah. And it got to a point, now that I'm looking back, that I would rather watch porn than sleep with my girlfriend at the time. And when I was jerking off more than I was being intimate with my partner, I didn't know that that was a sign of me being addicted. Looking back, I can say, wow, hey, you were probably addicted to porn. The fact that you would rather watch that than be with your partner, maybe there was a loss of attraction there, regardless of relationship troubles. But when after that relationship ended, I found out about NoFap, like how to sort of heal yourself or rewire your brain. And NoFap was one of the things that I came across. And I was like, well, what is this? And it was all about retaining semen and sort of these ancient techniques of how warriors used to retain semen for months before a battle or for whatever. And I read a bunch of stuff about how it increases testosterone and how it can be brought up through the spine, through your cerebrospinal fluid, throughout all of your chakras, and essentially make you a smarter, better, faster, stronger, more resilient, more confident person. And I started reading a number of spiritual books related to this. And it became a very fascinating concept. It is now a core concept of my life. And I've found, since I've had other relationships now, I have found that I am far more productive when I'm not watching porn. I have more energy, I have more testosterone, I have more muscle growth, my voice deepens, and I have more energy and clarity, and I'm on point. I'm slightly more aggressive, but we can talk about how to sort of manage these things. And looking back, it's been a core principle for me becoming more centered, more spiritual, more aligned with my own intuition. And I obviously have more time. The fact that I don't need to go jerk off for 20 or 30 minutes or go search on Pornhub. Porn is widely accessible to everybody with an internet connection around the world. And I know a lot of men are addicted out there, but maybe they're having trouble sort of doing this. And I feel like when I'm on NoFap, I engaged with the opposite sex much more. When I've been in a relationship and I'm also not watching porn, I'm much more attracted to my partner. I want to have sex more often. I had better sex. I have definitely way better orgasms, more ejaculate, like more seminal fluid, and I feel much better overall, and that leads to a higher quality of life. I will say when I'm not in a relationship, like right now, I happen to be single and I'm not dating and I'm also not pursuing women. I'm on like day 40 of NoFap, I think. I'm using this for extra energy, for doing multiple workouts, for being productive. It's a Friday night and I'm here recording a podcast with a ton of energy. And I just generally find that it's a huge life improvement rather than wasting all of these amino acids and essential metals and minerals that I need that you actually lose through semen when you're jerking off 4 or 5 times a day. You are depleting your body of being able to replenish and rebuild itself. And there's so much more here, but I'm at my 5-minute mark. So I'm going to end it here. And I hope this sort of inspires you to go look into NoFap and implement it into your own life. Okay. Question number 2 is about what is sexual transmutation. Okay, this is essentially the second half of the NoFap question, but sexual transmutation is a word that if you have never come across, we're going to discuss it here. Sexual transmutation, okay, transmutation, and this is not talking about anything gender related. I am completely unbiased. Be who you are. Do what you want. Just be a good person at the end of the day. Okay. Don't tell other people what to do, essentially, but just be a good person across all spheres of your life. That's sort of my take. Sexual transmutation. This is about taking all of that sexual energy that we just talked about. Okay. Remember that root chakra that's essentially at your perineum. It's your taint. The actual anatomical term for your taint is perineum. But your perineum is where your root chakra lies. That's where a lot of your sexual energy lies. Okay. Men, you know that sexual energy mostly persists in our balls. Okay. When we see something that we like or we see something visually appealing, we get the little tingly feeling in our taint and in our balls. Okay. Now, sexual transmutation is all about taking that little spark that you feel whenever you have sexual energy and bringing that up your spine. Okay. You have a column. Okay. And this is I'm not going to get into the actual specifics of anatomy here, but a lot of your nerve columns run up and down your spine. Okay. You have an afferent and an efferent column. Okay. They run up your brain and then down your brain, and they go out to hundreds of thousands of millions of different nerves and nerve endings and nerve cells throughout your body. This nerve pathway travels at 380,000 miles an hour. Okay, that's why when you touch a table or you touch a cup or you touch a microphone or you touch your face, you feel it instantly, 380,000 miles an hour. Now, sexual transmutation, this energy can be brought up those pathways, okay, in your spinal column, okay? You have cerebral spinal fluid running up and down, okay? It's actually rotating all around your brain as well. It's very clear liquid, okay? And this clear liquid can be electrically charged when it rotates around your pineal gland. Your pineal gland actually has something on it called a dodecahedron. It's some sort of crystal that looks like a pineapple. I'm going to have to get specific. I kind of forget it, but it literally is a crystal that looks like a pineapple, and your cerebral spinal fluid will run through it. It actually runs over it, and it can become electrically charged. Now, this is often done with the use of breath work. Okay. So how you get that sort of electrical charge to go up your cerebral spinal fluid is by doing things like breath work, doing things like meditation. It will happen slowly, even if you do nothing, right? Even if you're on NoFap, day 40, day 50, day 90, day 100. I read stories of all the times of guys that have gone, months or years on NoFap, just full semen retention, and they are literally changing, corporations and building stuff. It's incredible. We'll talk about that in later episodes. But sexual transmutation is essentially taking all of the sexual energy and making it into productive energy. How you do this is by bringing that up your spine through breath work. There's a book about this called Way of the Superior Man that talks about this at length, and it is an awesome book. A lot of toxic things in that book. Again, take what you want, leave the rest behind. But read books and Google stuff about sexual transmutation. You can go on YouTube and probably find over 1,000 different videos that will explain this more in detail to you. But sexual mutation is, again, retaining your semen, male or female, but I only know mostly about the male anatomy right now, and taking that power and bringing that up your spine into your brain to use it as productive energy. Okay. When guys just loosely spread their seed, okay, again, intercourse is great for both partnerships and for your overall physical sexual health. I don't recommend retaining all the time, right? Like, have sex when it benefits your life and your relationships with that person as often as you seem fit. I think there's a healthy amount. It differs from person to person. I don't think sex should be the primary goal of everything that you do, nor should your partnership should be sort of, you're both on pillars there. But when you implement sexual transmutation and you take that excess energy that most guys are just spilling freely and wasting it by yanking it all the time, you can turn this into a very productive power that I hope you go and learn more about from only listening to these 5 minutes of it. Sadly, I'm out of time for that question. I could probably talk about that one for a long time, but these are sort of core, very personable principles for me, and I hope you find some use to them as well. Again, you can reach out if you want to learn more about that. But I want to jump into question number 3. What are some actual benefits of breath work? Holy cow. I know a lot of people out there have heard about guys like Wim Hof, okay, or they've heard about breath work, or they've tried it, or they've done an app. And I can only speak to my personal experience, right? I really believe that breath work is a powerful tool that is not some newly invented thing. I think tribes across the world, I think cultures and civilizations, whether it's chanting or dancing or rain dances, whatever it is, people have been doing breath work for millennia. I'm positive of it. Wim Hof is really, and if you don't know who Wim Hof is, I believe he's Polish. Holy cow. I used to know. I believe he's Polish. Very sad story about how he lost his wife to suicide. And he began his sort of personal journey into cold therapy. Cold therapy became his thing. He has climbed Everest or part of Everest, maybe up to base camp, without a shirt, only in shorts, barefoot. He is constantly jumping into ice stuff, preaching these sort of amazing things about how ice therapy has really changed his life. And I personally believe it. I see it a lot, and I'm rooting for the guy. I think a lot of his personal breath work is very cool. I have done my own versions of breath work, and this is essentially where you're hyperventilating, okay? You can hyperventilate. You can take different kinds of breaths, whether it's through your mouth, whether it's through your nose. I typically say Indian style or crisscross applesauce, excuse me, or I'll sit on my knees or I'll sit down and I'll do it. And oftentimes what you're doing is you're trying to override your hypoxic drive. So you're taking in a lot of oxygen. And what happens is you start to feel these really, really, tingly sensations in both your feet and your hands. And what this does is it kind of allows you to take in the world a little bit, and it resets your nervous system. Okay. So if you have any sort of tense or sensations or soreness, what it does is it clears out all of your bad thoughts. It just accentuates all of your blood cells, all of your veins, all of your arteries, and it gets everything going at the same speed and on the same pace. So it flushes stuff out. It flushes lactic acid out. It can reset an emotion. It can reset a trauma response. And breathwork is really something that has been popularized by a number of different people, including all sorts of yogis, all sorts of new age hippies. But I have done breath work consistently for the past 3 years. Every single morning, I take a 2-minute cold shower. I will hyperventilate for about 30 seconds right before I get in or right before I turn it to cold. And I find that it just helps me de-stress. Okay. Between the cold therapy, between the breath work, it helps me de-stress. It gets my body set for it. And oftentimes I'll mix in, I'll typically hold my breath at the end. What I'll do is I'll take 30 deep breaths in, like, okay. And then I'll hold at the end of 30 after I exhale for as long as possible. And I'll just sort of tap the center of my head and while I'm holding my breath, and I'll be like, what is my intuition telling me? What is my intuition telling me? And whenever that first message is, I'll write that message down. Okay. Oftentimes it'll be like, don't worry about this, or hey, you need to slow down, or hey, it gives me guidance and direction and allows me to get into a part of myself that is previously inaccessible, whether that is just how life is or we're too busy, but it allows me to go deep within. And I really think that more people should incorporate breath work, whether it's for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It's a very short and quick exercise that you can do any single day. There's a bunch on YouTube, and I highly, highly recommend that you go on, find one that you like, do it consistently, do it for a month, do it for 30 days, and then message me and tell me that, hey, breathwork did nothing for me. It didn't change my life at all. I will tell you you're a liar. That is my challenge to you if you're listening to this podcast. Go and do breathwork for 30 days. Find one, 2 to 5 minutes. I don't care if it's an app. I don't care if it's on YouTube. If you need help, I will send you my favorite ones. And I want you to go and do it for 30 days. Okay. Incorporate it into your routine. Takes no more than 2 minutes, couple minutes. You can do it in the privacy of your home. You can do it in the bathroom. I don't care. You can do it in the shower, right? But go and try it out. Let me know what you actually think of that. And that is all I have for episode 16 of 3 Questions Podcast. I would like to get more guests on here. If you want to come on and answer some questions that I can propose to you, if you want to talk about a topic, I'll select some for you. Just send me an email, 3questionspodcast@gmail.com. You can also, I started an Instagram for this, and I've been horrible at posting on this. So I will post more clips on that very soon. Okay. Please continue to also submit questions. If you have questions about your business or personal or something that you want to submit anonymously, I'm happy to talk about it. I do not know everything on these podcasts, but I do know enough. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I'm in the business of sort of correcting them. I share a lot of my mistakes, a lot of my trials and tribulations with my clients in order to make them better, so I can distill that wisdom upon them and see them grow and flourish and make more money. Okay. Both mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, academically, financially, all 6 primary ways that I believe people can and will get better. I want to see them do that. If you want to work together, you know how to find me, ckcollective.co. You can reach me at info@ckcollective.co. And I hope to see you in episode 17. Thank you very much for listening. My name's Cam. See you in the next one.